our daily broadcast, Yoon Tunes. I'm your host, Danny Applebaum. On today's episode, we will focus on the topics of HIV and the spread of infectious diseases, what they are, how together they can affect the human population, and how we can protect ourselves against them. Today's broadcast will feature experts in these fields who have leading-edge explanations and data, along with real-world victims with first-hand experiences. Our first segment will answer the question, what is HIV? HIV, or human immunodeficiency virus, has been considered a serious epidemic in the United States since the 1980s. HIV most likely derived from SIV, or simian immunodeficiency virus. People in present-day Democratic Republic of Congo used to hunt and consume the immense population of chimpanzees in the late 1920s. Once the blood was transferred from chimp to human, the disease developed into modern-day HIV, which has a 75% similarity with SIV, according to Aber.com. The area around Democratic Republic of Congo was filled with transportation links. Due to their lack of knowledge of the disease, it was spread rapidly through the population. Here's our expert Richard C. with more information on this topic.
Thanks, Danny. HIV is even more relevant today because even if HIV-related deaths are lowering, the absolute number of people living with this virus reached a peak pretty recently in 2015 of 36.7 million people, according to the AIDS Info online database. HIV mainly impacts our population today because of our inadequate efforts to educate the public about sexually transmitted diseases. Later, my colleague Andrew will further analyze statistics on HIV, but for now I have information on how and what HIV does. As you already know, HIV is a sexually transmitted virus spread through body fluids that attack the T cells, otherwise known as T lymphocyte. The T cell is a type of white blood cell which determines the specificity of immune response to antigens in the body. If HIV goes untreated, the number of T cells will lower, which at one point will become AIDS. There are 7 stages of life of the HIV virus: binding, fusion, reverse transcription, integration, replication, assembly, and budding. According to the AIDSinfo.gov, the virus first attaches and binds itself to the receptors on the surface of a CD4 cell. Inside the cell, HIV releases and uses reverse transcriptase to convert the HIV RNA into DNA, and it integrates itself into the cell DNA and uses the machinery of the CD4 cell to make long chains of HIV. HIV can be treated with anti-retrieval therapy, which cannot cure HIV but is able to prolong the life of an infected person and make them less likely to transmit the disease. Here's Andrew.
Thanks, teacher. My name is Andrew Yoon. During my time studying in Myanmar, a Southeast Asian sovereign state, I found out many shocking facts about HIV and its correlation with tuberculosis. Globally, around 36 million people in the world have to face the struggles of HIV. According to the analyzed data from a research in Myanmar on February 23, 2013, 120,000 people were living with AIDS. 75% of them were living without ARVs, and about 18,000 die annually. In Myanmar, 300,000 people have TB, while 20% of them being co-infected with HIV. ARVs help stop the growth of the virus. Since the HIV became relevant in the 80s, 77 million people have been diagnosed, and 35 million have died due to the virus. Less than one third of the people in the world are receiving treatment for HIV. As researchers and doctors improve HIV treatment, a crucial part of the process is sex education, which can be overlooked or minimal in third world countries such as Myanmar, which has once again been named one of the world's least developed country by the United Nations Conference on Trade and Development. Stiles, a native of Myanmar, is just one of the million people who are still suffering the symptoms of this potentially preventable disease. He has HIV.
Thanks, guys. I have HIV, but really, I didn't know at first. I remember first experiencing a fever and sore throat, and then fatigue. I thought it was just the flu, but by the time I went to the doctor, it had already progressed to AIDS. I needed to take many different medicines every day, including reverse transcriptase inhibitors, integrase inhibitors, and multi-drug combinations. Having HIV puts me at risk of many infections. Since my immune system is weak, it can't defend against infections, making me more prone to life-threatening diseases like pneumonia and tuberculosis.
When HIV and TB are both present in a patient, the results can be deadly. These two diseases, along with others, work together and speed up each other's processes. When people have a weak immune system, individuals with HIV who are not accepting ARVs, the characteristics of history of TB is changed. Rather than there being a long dormancy stage amongst contamination and improvement of infection, individuals with HIV can turn out to be sick with dynamic TB alignment inside weeks to months, so as opposed to the ordinary years to decades.
Thank you for watching this edition of Unitunes. Have a great rest of your day.